It's snowing in the windy city. I guess my tears from the bittersweet memories have frozen over. It's not that things haven't changed. It's that they've come full circle to remind me of how few things have remained the same. I was different then. I'm different now. And it's funny how we say we've changed as though the only person we have yet to convince is ourselves. I struggle with the thought of the past, present, and future. Scratch that. I just struggle with my thoughts. I thought springtime meant sweater weather, even though I grew up picking snowball fights well into February. We march on. I remember the last time my footprints stamped their name into these sidewalks. The ground was frozen. The bitter air beat against my face. I had to buy another coat from a thrift shop to keep me warm. I thought I never wanted that day to end. I thought if I thought about time enough, it would cease to mean anything. Like how a word devolves into a jumbled mess of sounds after you repeat it enough times. I thought if I stared at the sun setting over the city and closed my eyes long enough, the image would never go away. But it did. And when I opened my eyes, the only light came from the moon battling for the spotlight with billboards and street lamps. I watched from a foggy train window as I traveled further on into the night. Time refused to stand still. I grew up despite every bone in my body telling me to stay in that moment. I think about how I've come back after all this time, only for the snow to remind me of years past. I think about who I used to be, and what that me would think about the footprints I now leave on the frozen sidewalks where he wrote his autobiography. I used to think I could make the bittersweet happier by writing over the bitter parts. I used to be bitter. Until I started to think about the places I had been, the places I had yet to go. I think memories are such that they will be painful. They'll transport us to laughter that only gets funnier as the days go on. They'll make us cry uncontrollably at the very mention of a name, smile like the world revolves around us, and then they'll remind us that it really doesn't. I think that, like a good story, memories build on and coexist with each other. For every peak, there's a valley. For every sunrise, there's an accompanying sunset. And I think life is best remembered when it's written in the present tense. Trying to rewrite what once was and will always be is a recipe for living in possibilities with expiration dates that have long since passed. What if is a deadly question that only leads to more questions and never any answers. I can't tell you what things could have been like, but I think, at least for me, I would have always ended up back here, some way, somehow. With the snow falling unseasonably through the windy city, I think, at least for me, this is for the best. I used to think growing up meant letting go. Now, I think this story of mine is less about forgetting and more about holding on for dear life to the good and loosening my grip on the bad, and picking up the pen and writing something new, whatever it may be. I'll leave my footprints on the frozen sidewalks where I made them, and revisit them when the time is right. I'll leave my new prints next to them as we walk down memory lane, reminiscing but never reliving. I've got stories left to write, wounds to heal, mistakes to learn from, moments to turn into memories. I've got todays that will soon become yesterdays, and yesterdays that will become distant memories way before I'm ready for them to be. I'm not sure where I'll be when I open my eyes, but I can assure you it won't be here. I can't promise who will be there with me, but I know that I won't be alone. I can't promise who I'll be, but I know I'll be different. I can promise one thing though. No matter where I end up, who I end up there with, how different I am, I will be there writing something new. Always.